Welcome to Numbers Don't Lie, Marketing Insights for Accountants. I'm Brad Pinzer.
And I'm Janelle Thakora. Thank you for joining us because we have a very fun episode today. So before we start, I want to tell everybody what's going to happen on this episode. We have a special guest with us today, Christine Cook. She is an attorney in Florida, a family law attorney who has launched a really cool, interesting new business that we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about this business because it's really fascinating. But then we're going to also turn it around because we like to have guests on our podcast from time to time that aren't accountants, but they're entrepreneurs, they're business owners. And we like to pick their brains about what's important to them. What do they value in a bookkeeper and an accountant, et cetera. So before we get started though, first things first, it is Friday. It is at the end of the day, all of in our world. And so we decided to do something very unique, which is, I'm not the only one with a glass of wine here.
Cheers.
Cheers. So do we want to share what we're drinking?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Let's start there.
Yeah. What do you got there, Christine?
1800 on ounce.
Ooh, nice.
The coconut version, which is very refreshing, and it is made with coconut water. So it's au natural, it is hydrating, and it doesn't add a whole bunch of calories.
So it's healthy is what you're saying.
Healthy, 100%.
Well, tequila. Amen. Well, what I'm drinking is probably not nearly as healthy because it's white wine. It's Sauvignon Blanc from my very favorite wine glass. Has a mermaid on it. But I like Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc as kind of like my go-to. Or Whitehaven. I don't have any Whitehaven right now. This is Kim Crawford, but it's really good. Very grapefruity. So that's what I'm drinking.
Awesome. And what I have here is I have a bottle of red wine. It is a mixture of Cab, Merlot, Syrah, Sangiovese, and it's a special bottle though because I went to Tuscany with my wife. It was my first time, and right next door we stayed at a place called Pancolina in Tuscany. It was beautiful, an active olive garden, and right next door, like less than a mile away, was a winery called Fattoria di Pencol. And we went there and we had a wine tasting, and we picked this one wine here that I loved. We both loved it, and we had a couple cases shipped home. It cost us more to ship it than it cost us for the actual wine. But so I'm getting down to my last few, but I cracked it open tonight.
Wow.
When you find a favorite wine, and then you're just like, oh, you savor like the bottles and counting the.
So I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
one more.
Yeah. I've got a Chardonnay I love called Rombauer, and it is my absolute so good. It's pricey. So let's get started. So Christine, tell us a little bit about you and your background in terms of what you've done in your career, but then your recent shift in your new focus. So let's start there.
Yeah, well, so I've been a licensed attorney since 2001, and I just never really found my footing. I feel like I'm one of those who's maybe late to bloom or whatever they call it. There was no passion. I'm full of passion, but there was no passion for any specific type of law. I went through my own divorce in 2012 and 13, and I couldn't find a divorce lawyer who really cared. And so I had to become my own divorce lawyer. And so I studied the books, and then after my case was over, I decided to continue to do what I was doing for myself for other people, because I didn't want anybody to be left in a sinking boat with no deckhand. So,
Right.
So I've been doing that for 12 years, a family law divorce attorney. But recently I've shifted to divorce coaching. And so I feel like I can help people, on a better level. As a coach, as an attorney, what happens is, there's a lot of moving parts. There's too many people who can impact and influence my job, no matter how well I do it. And so, my results are not always what I feel like they should be. And so, and there's a lot that goes along in family law. There's emotions, there's a lot of that, but I feel like I would be better serving people as a divorce coach instead of a divorce lawyer. So it's more controlled. They're able to, the only thing you control is yourself, right?
Right.
So if I can help people moderate themselves, going through the divorce process, I think I'm going to have a better, success rate.
Yeah.
Interpersonally, professionally, for myself.
So interesting. So your own personal journey kind of fueled your passion to become a family lawyer and help people who are going through those traumatic divorces feel like they're not alone and have good guidance and how to get them to the other side. What was it in your journey as an attorney where you're like, you know what, I think there's something more. I think I can impact people a little bit differently by being a coach. Was there anything pivotal that happened there, or was it just sort of a evolution of, I just think I can have bigger impact doing this? I mean, you still obviously are an attorney and going to continue that, but talk to me a little bit about what was it that shifted in your mind to take you down that path?
Probably one too many orders that didn't go my way. So I mean, the divorce, the family law judges are often very, very overloaded. And as you can imagine, the subject matter is the same thing every day, right? Like kind of like a Groundhog Day. Husband hates the wife, and somebody cheated, and the kids are this, and the money is that. And so, they're strung out probably in the first 6 months of their rotation, which is a 3-year rotation here in this area. So the passion that I carry with my clients into court, and fully believing them, and there are some people who say, just which party's lying less.
Interesting.
And so, it feels like there's no control over what I'm able to present in court, what I'm able to do for them. And so, and if you're in front of a judge who's making your decisions for you, that's not an optimal situation.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons I will never get married again, because not that I said it would end in divorce, but I will never let a judge tell me again what to do with my personal life.
Wow. Interesting.
So yeah. So if you're at this level, so if you're coached along the way, people get into a divorce and they don't know what to expect, right?
Right.
And for most people, they don't do this every day, and they don't do it every other year. So you don't know how to act. You're in a situation where it's all you can see, it's all you can think about, it's all you can focus. People are going to vacate you at parties. Nobody wants to be next to you because that's all you can think about and talk about. I'm going to help you not do that. I'm going to be the person that you talk to. And then when you go to a cocktail party, you can talk about something else other than your divorce. So I'm going to help people to behave in the way that they always did behave when the divorce was not the only thing dominating their minds.
So let me ask you a question, because we've talked about this a little bit. What's the number one thing you tell people not to say when they're like in the beginning, going through a divorce or about to?
Well, there's probably a lot of things. Like, what is it that you
Well, what I remember you said is, don't say something to the effect that my attorney this or my attorney that.
Oh, that yeah. Well, when people call me, they might be calling me because they're thinking about divorce. They haven't filed yet. Maybe their spouse has talked about it, and I want a divorce. How often does that happen between married couples? So when they call me and I give them like the rundown of what the laws that are applicable to their situation are, I always tell them, do not go in and say, well, my attorney said, because that is very much, I also have a little saying where I say, once you put it on the turbo boil, you can very rarely bring it back to the simmer.
Right.
So, you can have a turbo boil divorce, and that's going to be very expensive, very acrimonious, and just horrible for everybody, including the lawyers, but the lawyers are the ones getting paid.
Right.
Well, you know what? We can try to break up in a simpatico way and keep it on a simmer. Yeah, it's not going to be, like having tequila and wine with your friends. You doesn't have to soar flaming swords either. So yeah.
Right. One of the things that's really interesting to me is when I started talking to you about like what you do, what was fascinating is I've gone through a divorce. It was absolutely, just terrible. Like, it's tragic. There's serious PTSD from that for anybody who goes through it. And I remember I never thought I would get divorced. And it's like all of a sudden in my world way back then in 2010, I was like, what do I do? I had no idea. And I was scared and I felt not empowered, no knowledge, and I didn't know what to do. And it was a huge, scary leap to call an attorney. And so what I think is cool about what you do is you're, when someone needs a coach because they don't know what to do, that's the perfect phone call. And it's not like you're just a life coach per se. You're an attorney too. So you can jump there in that, in that person's world and say, I've got you. Here's exactly what you need to do. And so you can work with them alongside their attorney.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and to be clear, I'm only licensed in the state of Florida. So, but my coaching will go anywhere.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean, it's, I'm not one of those big, bad, scary attorneys, like I always think of like the Ron Burgundy, my house doesn't smell of mahogany and, but, but a lot of attorneys are. I mean, it is scary to talk to an attorney if you're not one. It is. I remember, I mean, my boss would, when I was 19, 20 years old, if I was right available to answer the phone and he would answer the phone, they would hang up on him. And they'd hang up because they wanted to talk to me before I was a lawyer, when I was a secretary.
Oh, that's so funny.
The lawyers.
It is. I don't know who I want to hear from less, a lawyer or the IRS.
For sure. I have more power.
So what would you say, like, for anybody who's listening that might be in that point, because my goodness, I don't even know what the statistics are now. They used to be over 50%. I'm sure they're probably even worse now. So like, at what point does someone reach out and, enlist the help of a divorce coach? And then for anybody who might be thinking of that, or like, oh my God, I just don't even know where to start. Or maybe I'm in the middle of something really nasty and I just need some extra support. And I'm in, Portland, Oregon, or wherever I may be. I don't have to be in Florida where you are. How can they reach you? Where would they start?
Well, my website is divorcingwell.com, WELL. And so they can go there. They can go to my TikTok. Well, sorry. Do we not have TikTok now, or do we?
No, we didn't have it for a few hours. Now we have it again. Who knows what's going to
It's like the BOI thing. It's like, it was here, it was up, it was.
have to. No. Go on, do.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, I put it on autopilot. So, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky. I think that we're going to start presence on Blue Sky. I mean, look at my videos, look at my blogs. There's YouTube as well. And so when do you reach out? You reach out before it gets serious. I'll tell you, you reach out before you need to.
Yeah.
100%. Because if you're being served, if there's a separation, you're already in, flight or fight mode, right? So what is it? The Maslow's, the hierarchy of needs, shelter, oh my gosh,
You didn't shelter, water, all that.
exactly. Emotional health. I mean, once you need a divorce coach, I mean, obviously reach out when you need it, but if you're planning and strategic and can reach out before you need, then let's then help you out before it's nasty.
So the cool thing is you've reserved like 5 15-minute slots a week in your schedule where you'll have those quick conversations with someone to determine if or not they, if they need one, what you might be able to do for them, and kind of explain your packages. So just for anybody listening, I know this, and I just wanted to point you to follow Christine on her social media, because I know there are links to that landing page on there where someone can go book 15 minutes if that's available during your week. So I think it's cool what you do. I think you're really empowering people to not feel like backed into a corner or scared because of lack of knowledge. So I just, and it's just a really cool thing. It's like a gap that hadn't been filled. It was, you go from marriage to divorce attorney. That's a huge leap that is absolutely terrifying. So I think what you're doing is really,
And let me differentiate the practice from a regular therapist as well, because therapy is designed to assist in chaos, right? And so there is chaos, but also there's planning with divorce coaching. So what are you going to do after? We're going to make some steps. We're going to tailor everything to what your goals are in life to make you be ready for when that final judgment is entered. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, way before I was a divorce lawyer would tell me, God, they just didn't know what to do. And I mean, I had a client leave here one day. I guess she was married for over 40 years.
oh,
And she seemed so strong. I mean, in 2020, I divorced or helped divorce 3 couples who were married for more than 40 years. But this particular woman, they were married for over 40 years. And, and I'll keep those comments to myself. But, after I got her the mediation settlement agreement, she just looked at me and she said, now what? Now what do we do? And my heart broke.
yeah.
I'm so ready for it. She definitely wanted the divorce. She wanted to be done. She wanted to move on, but she didn't have a plan at all. Now, and I thought, gosh, honey, this is not, I wish you asked me that question 6 months ago.
Right.
I just go home and be like, now what? Well, make those words not come out of your mouth. You'll already know. You'll be ready. I mean, you want to be 100% ready, but you're going to be ready.
Right. Yeah.
And I just wanted to add to what you were saying, I mean, I think it's really good timing to have Christine on today because I'm not going through a divorce. You guys went through it, but I have a very close friend that I just found out he's going through a divorce. And I think it's a little bit of a hot mess. And of course my brother's gone through a divorce and it was, contentious.
Mhm.
And, you always hear about that, but, I think, whether you're personally going through one, everyone knows somebody or you just never know. And it's just good to just know what's, that there's resources out there that it doesn't have to, you don't have to get sucked into the system. You don't have to spend all your money, and wasting it, fighting, and then other ways.
That's, I mean, there's a joke that says, why is divorce so expensive? And the tagline is because it's worth it. So, but also it doesn't have to be. I mean, I prefer to do settlement, just settlement conferences all the time. I mean, when one client comes to me and says, we've got it all figured out, we just need you to do the paperwork. I'm like, fantastic.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's optimal for everybody. I'm not going to do it for free, but what I tell people is, look, you can keep your money or you could pay me to do this for you. I mean, it's, anyway.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll put links to your landing page and your website in our show notes, but I want to shift gears for just a minute.
Yeah.
So, you're living a life of a super, super busy family law attorney and divorce coach, which means you are scheduled like crazy. You're in and out of court all the time on conference calls, and you are completely entrenched in your career. So you're running a business. This is you're an entrepreneur in a way too, right? A business owner.
Yeah.
So when you run a business, the people that speak the language of business are accountants, and we work with a lot of accountants. And one of the things that Brad and I have found over the years is a lot of accountants, they speak in a very technical language because they live in spreadsheets and QuickBooks Online and financial statements, and things that make sense to them don't make sense to, real people out there in a lot of ways. And so we are trying to really help them understand what business owners value, what they need, and where the gaps are. So as a business owner, what would you say, what's important to you in a bookkeeper or an accountant? And not who do you work with? We don't want to know who, but what does your setup look like? Are you working with a bookkeeper? Are you working with a CPA? What does that look like?
Well, yeah, I have both, and that's the person that you saw, on, a little bit on off screen. That was my bookkeeper. So, and she's been with me for 7 years. Wow, so maybe longer. Accuracy is, accuracy. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, I have a little, not a spreadsheet, but a little form that, I take. I have a home office. I'm allowed to bill 20% of the home expenses, right? I can't tell you how many times I'm dyslexic and transpose the numbers, and I'll transfer them. Oh, I'm reimbursing myself. And she'll be like, oh, you did it wrong. Then I don't know how I do it. Like, I just, I use a calculator and everything. Yeah, accuracy, friendly. She deals with the clients as well. So, she counts all the pennies, all the beans, and sometimes we got to give beans back. And so, she's got to be nice. My accountant, I finally have an accountant who has a personality. So, I mean, that's not to say, and look, accountants, bring it on. I'm a lawyer. I mean, I get it. You can, you can't insult me because I'm not one of those lawyers like that. But, yeah, I mean, but no, my accountant, what do I love about my accountant? Well, what I don't love about my accountant is he makes me do stuff.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's a good accountant. Yeah.
Yes, it is. But like, for instance, if Elaine has coded something improperly, instead of, him just redoing it, because I tell Elaine and then Elaine does what I tell her to do. And then Danny wants it done differently. And so, he has me handle it. So it's not my job. Increase your pay. How much do you want? I'll just, how do you do it? Please do it. Right. But, I, for instance, I bought a new vehicle last year. And so counting on him to know, what do I do? How do I, how is it titled? What kind of loan do I need? What do I need to tell the insurance? That kind of stuff where he's available. Yeah. I mean, one of my last accountants was never available.
Oh yeah, we hear that a lot.
And not just from January to April.
Yeah.
No, but I think, sometimes accountants are more comfortable with numbers than with humans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let me ask you, I have a few questions. How did you find this new accountant? So you were with somebody else, you didn't like them, and then
Yeah. He's here. I think a friend of a friend. Okay. So a friend who was opening his own business. No, a friend, yes, was opening his own business, and he used my accountant. So it was by happenstance. I just wanted to change accountants because, not the one who never was available, but then there was another one who we just didn't jive. Mm-hmm. And so she did good work, but she just had a different style than we did. And it created a little bit more workflow than we needed. And so, my new guy is right down the street, and he's somebody I like to actually have lunch with.
Yeah.
So that's important, like somebody that you like that. And can you tell me about what kind of like pricing package or do they have for you? Is it like a monthly type subscription or?
No, actually. So, gosh, I don't even know how much. I mean, we pay at the end of the year. He does my personal taxes for a certain amount of money. He does my professional taxes, for X amount of dollars. And I don't know if that's a set price. I don't know if you want me to name prices.
No, you don't have to name price. We were interested in the shift in that profession right now is to move people to more of a subscription base, so like a monthly or quarterly, versus that once a year lump sum.
Mm-hmm.
And we were curious. There's a lot of reasons behind that because it's easier to budget for clients.
Yes.
People can stay more aligned with you throughout the year. So there's no tax surprises or anything like that. And they can offer some, some higher level services, and then also for their cash flow, it's better because otherwise they're like, cash rich in May, right? And then come January, things are lean.
No wonder they're working so much.
There's food. Yeah. So, so it sounds like you're on sort of like an annual once a year plan with your accountant, but probably monthly with your bookkeeper.
Yeah. And I mean, I honestly wouldn't mind, a quarterly subscription. I mean, we do use ADP for payroll. So my taxes, or the payroll taxes are in check. That is a check that I really dislike.
Yeah, right.
Especially when you do it quarterly, like a 940 or 941. And that's just like, I don't like that. So but yeah, no, I mean, I think that a subscription, payment would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when Danny comes at the end of the year and says, "Oh, you need to do this," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to." Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
That's Brad and I, our accountant is like that. It's monthly. So we pay like a monthly subscription. And then it's so great because it's like, we know that things are taken care of. They are accurate. And when he has questions, he pops in, he'll shoot us a text, shoot us an email. We're like, yep, here's the answers. And if we need to know anything, he's just like, he's really good, really proactive. And yeah, then it's like, ooh, tax time. This is not stressful anymore.
Yeah.
I used to get like seriously stressed at tax time because you just wouldn't have a feel for, am I going to get a refund? I have no idea. And now we really don't. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
What?
Fine, I just want to say, I think I might have said this before, but I never got stressed because my wife always took care of it. So like, I didn't have to do anything. Like I don't get it. I mean, it's easy. What are you talking about?
Guide you around as the passenger princess. She does the tax work. She cooks.
That's right. But but for her though, I know that she used to wait like till like the end to do everything, and she was stressed out. But now she does it as we go along. So she's like, oh, this is much easier for her.
Yeah.
So I noticed that.
Well, if I had the time, and I mean, when I was smaller, I mean, I did it. I mean, I was more proactive, like in obviously, in writing the 940 and the 941 checks. I mean, but that again, I mean, I transfer those numbers on like $900.
Yeah.
I don't trust myself with that kind of accuracy.
Right.
And I said, was the most important thing about having a bookkeeper and a CPA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have one more question for you about how you found your current accountant. So it was a referral from someone, but when someone said, hey, Christine, you need to talk to Danny or whatever, you probably didn't just pick up the phone and go, oh, hey, I want to do business with you. What did you do to vet him out? Like, did you go check out his website? Did you look at reviews online? Anything like that?
No, I think I probably did just call him and be like, hey, so-and-so. And he was like, well, at first, of course, it's a lawyer calling him. And, people aren't always like, they're not always fond to talk to lawyers. So he was probably very curt and like, well, this is what we'll do. And, when are you looking for? Probably called him in like October. I'd have called him in January 1st and been like, hey, I need an accountant. I think he probably would have not taken me. Right. But as we've worked together over the years, I think this is the third or the fourth year that I'm working with him. Yeah. We've gotten to know each other and appreciate each other's business. So, and I refer him, anybody. So, yeah,
That is awesome.
By the way, I was gonna guess that Christine just called him up and it's not like Christine.
Phenomenal.
Huh? Knew I would have been like researching and doing all kinds of stuff and checking everything out.
It's funny because I think I work all the time and I feel like I never get anything done. It's like running in quicksand sometimes. And I had a friend who was referring her friend for a divorce and, they're texting and, we're snowmageddon up here and like, well, did you hear from her? Well, did you respond? And I'm like, I've been working for 16 days straight and I have an appellate brief to write by Monday at 5. you know, I'm not going to have me break, but yeah, no, I don't have time to research anybody, Brad.
Right.
How did I blame you?
You lucked out.
Yes. Yeah. So, well, it sounds like, I mean, relationship obviously is key. And I think one thing that accountants, what's really important is they have to be able to be good with people and build those relationships, because we don't see as much value in that, like just basic tax prep anymore. It's just commoditized. But if you've got an accountant that has a good relationship with you and they're providing you value and really proactively helping you, you're willing to pay for it. You know, it's your business is very important. It's your livelihood. So
I just told you I don't even know how much he charges me.
yeah.
Don't give this video to him.
That's good. Clearly you see value in him, because you're not going, oh my God, he charges me too much. You just know that he's doing a good job for you and you pay whatever he bills you. And that's, you know, he's an expert, just like you're an expert.
I mean, I do think that last year I was like, ooh, okay. Well, I think we've raised our prices a little, haven't we?
I bet this year he's going to probably go, okay, she didn't stream last time. Our rep was. Yeah. Well, Kristen, I know you're busy, so we'll bring things to a wrap. We really appreciate having you today. This is super fascinating. I think you're going to have a huge impact on so many people and make their lives so much better than the contentious, ugly divorces that most people just assume they're going to have to go through, especially when they've got you in their corner as a coach. And thank you for sharing your insights on, you know, how you as a business owner work with your accounting professionals as well. So,
Cheers. So awesome to have you on, and check out divorcingwell.com.
and we will link your information in our show notes as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Y'all have a great weekend.